Good to have you on the program. Let's start with Rio Tinto, then we'll get into the broader markets because Rio missing there in the first half. What do you think? What's happening with Rio Tinto?
Yeah, look, Rio Tinto's earnings number at $7.8 billion was slightly below market estimates around that $8 billion mark. But look, if you look at the result in context, there had been impacts from currency, there had been slight impacts on cost. It's not necessarily a volume issue or a structural issue with the business. It's just that the market perhaps didn't get its numbers right. If you look at the dividend was in line, 54 US cents. And so overall, while it is below expectations, it's not really a disappointing number. And I think if you take what Tom Albanese is saying, talking about the long-term prospects of Rio Tinto, you see that backed up by the investments that Rio Tinto is making in their assets all around the world, particularly in iron ore in Australia, where the result was slightly below expectations, but not by a whole lot. And this is a business which is continuing to grow. So overall, it is a slight miss, but it's an otherwise very strong business in a very good position.
Okay, what about what they've decided to do with their cash? Because they're tripling their share buyback plan to $7 billion. I mean, is this the best use of their money? Couldn't they go out and look for acquisitions right now, considering the Australian dollar is so strong?
Yeah, look, the last time Rio Tinto went out and made an aggressive acquisition, it was very poorly timed. It was right at the top of the market prior to the financial crisis. It took on a lot of debt and it had to engage its shareholders in a very large and heavily dilutive capital raising. This time, those memories aren't too distant. The best returns that Rio can get are in its own assets. If you look at, again, Pilbara Iron Ore, they're putting in a lot of money. There's about $1 billion worth of capital expenditure going into Western Australia to ramp up that iron ore expansion. So they are swimming in cash at the moment. Commodity prices have been strong. They might not be over the year or two, but Rio has a nice cash cushion.
Well, even if Rio did beat expectations, on a day like today, I'm expecting the market and the stock to go down. What about the sell-off that's impending right now in Australia? How long do you think the selling will last?
Look, I think the selling will be indiscriminate today. Commodity prices were off by a large amount overnight. You look at what oil's done. Oil's a great indicator of global growth, and that's off by a lot. And other commodities will take an indication from that. So obviously, Australia being very resource-focused, we will see large falls in our resource exposure. The resource stocks have held up the market over the past few months as the Australian banks have trended a little bit lower. So there is quite a lot of room for those stock prices to pull back, and in line with the region, I think Australia is not immune at all, and we will see large falls.